So we're about to jump into what is essentially a 1,400-year-old investigation. And it's an incredible story about the meticulous and honestly brilliant science of preserving sacred history. This is how we can even begin to be sure of words spoken over a millennium ago. And it really all boils down to this one huge question. How on earth can you be certain about what someone said and did over 1,400 years ago? I mean, think about it. This wasn't just some historical curiosity. It was a massive challenge that early Muslim scholars took on with just an incredible amount of rigor. And their solution? Well, it's the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. Okay, let's dive right in. To even start to answer our big question, we have to understand the main piece of evidence in this whole investigation. It's a term you've probably heard before, but we're going to really break it down. What exactly is a hadith? At its core, a hadith is a report. It's a record of something attributed to the Prophet Muhammad. You can think of it like a historical snapshot, a captured moment, a snippet of a conversation, or an observation that got passed down through generations. But, and this is key, it's not just one single type of record. See, the evidence actually breaks down into 4 really distinct categories. First, you've got his sayings, or qawl, the actual words he spoke. Simple enough. Second, his actions, or fi'l, what people saw him do. Third, and this one is fascinating, are his approvals, or taqrir. This means somebody did something in his presence, he saw it, and he didn't forbid it, which implies his approval. And finally, his attributes, or sifa. These are descriptions of his character, his personality, and even his physical appearance. Each one of these is like a different kind of data point for scholars. And this is what makes it so real, right? This is what a saying actually looks like in its raw form. It's direct testimony. A companion would literally say, "I heard him say this," or "he told us that." This is the very first link in the chain of evidence that scholars would then go on to spend centuries scrutinizing. Now, like with any deep investigation, you gotta know the lingo. There are a couple of other really important terms that are tied to hadith, but have their own specific meanings. And getting these right is crucial if you want to see the whole picture. And this is a perfect example of that nuance. Take the word sunnah. You'd think it has one simple meaning, but it actually changes a bit depending on whose work you're reading. For hadith scholars, yeah, it's basically another word for hadith, the whole collection of reports. But if you talk to a jurist, a legal expert, they're talking about a specific type of action, a voluntary act of worship. And for the Usul scholars, the ones who study the principles of law, the sunnah is a formal source of legislation. Same word, different professional contexts. Then we have this totally unique category, the Hadith Qudsi, which means sacred hadith. Now this is fascinating. It's not the Quran and it's not a regular hadith. It's something in between. Here, the prophet is reporting a message that comes directly from God. So the meaning is divine, but, and this is the important part, the wording is the prophet's own. It just has this special status, right between direct revelation and the prophet's own teachings. And you can just feel the weight of a Hadith Qudsi when you hear an example like this. "O my servants, I have forbidden injustice for myself." The tone is just majestic. It's a direct, divine command, but it's being narrated to us through the prophet. It's such a powerful way to understand this special form of communication. Okay, so we have all this evidence, the reports, the sayings, the actions, but here's the million-dollar question. How do we know which pieces are reliable? And this is where we get to the really cool part, the incredible forensic toolkit that scholars developed to check every single report. This toolkit has 2 main parts. First is Riwayah, the science of narration. The best way to think about this is like establishing the chain of custody in a legal case. Who heard it from whom and who did they hear it from all the way back to the source. The goal is to make sure the report was passed down accurately. The second part is Dirayah, the science of scrutiny. This is like the forensic analysis. Here, scholars would basically create a biographical file on every single person in that chain of transmission. Were they an honest person? Did they have a good memory? And they'd also analyze the report itself. Does it make sense? Does it contradict something else we know is true? It's an unbelievably detailed process. So you have this intense, 2-pronged approach, and it's all working towards one single goal. This was never about just collecting stories. No way. The whole point was to authenticate the historical record. The goal was verification. And this entire rigorous process has a name in Arabic, al-Fiqh. It means to establish trustworthiness and reliability. You can think of it as the official stamp of approval that a report gets only after it has survived the intense scrutiny of this whole toolkit. And the goals of al-Fiqh were crystal clear and very systematic. It was about preservation, for one, making sure this knowledge didn't just disappear over time. But it was also about selection and purification, sifting through everything to find the authentic reports, while actively tossing out the weak or even completely fabricated ones. And here's a crucial point. It wasn't just a simple authentic or not authentic label. They created a whole grading scale of authenticity, from sound to good to weak. The ultimate goal was to present a purified, reliable body of knowledge for the community. So, after all that scholarly effort, why does this 1400-year-old science of verification actually matter today? I mean, what's the point? Well, the answer takes us right out of historical investigation and into its huge impact on daily life. Because the final, verified collection of the Prophet's words and actions, the Sunnah, stands as the second primary source of Islamic law and guidance. It's right there after the Quran itself. That whole meticulous process we just talked about, that's what gives the Sunnah its authority. It's the very foundation that so much of Islamic practice and law is built on. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This entire system, this incredibly intricate science of history, memory, and verification, wasn't just some academic exercise. It was a real solution to a profound challenge. And the results of that 1400-year-old investigation continue to guide and shape the spiritual and practical lives of over 1 billion people all around the world every single day. Pretty amazing when you think about it.